Meanwhile, this is a subject that I know some of you will relate to. If you use LinkedIn to make professional connections, there probably are some things that make you go, as it relates to that. And so we thought we'd try and get our questions answered. Joining us in the studio today is Kevin Brozovich. He is the principal at HRM Innovations, an organization based in Kalamazoo, but does a lot of consulting work here in Battle Creek as well. In fact, Kevin worked at Fort Custer once upon a time, so certainly familiar with Battle Creek in our area and happened to be here in town today, so the timing worked out. Kevin, good morning to you.
Good morning, Richard.
Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate very much your being here, and I know you know about this subject.
I do.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, and here's what motivated me. So, I have a professional profile on LinkedIn,
Yes.
and I get connection requests, and I look at some of them. Who is this person? Well, maybe there's some kind of synergy between our industries. No. I can see. So, I wonder about that, and I got to thinking, this isn't like Facebook, right? I mean, you don't just make pals to make pals.
Right.
What's the goal here?
Sure. So the goal is to connect with people that share the same professional interests as you. And a lot of times that means job searching or career opportunities or just connecting to learn more things about your industry.
Same professional interest as you. So in theory, then, by looking at one another's profile, we might not see connections, but maybe we have potential connections of a common interest.
Absolutely. So, for example, like my life is all about HR, right? We do HR consulting, we do recruiting, but it may be an organization leader that doesn't have an HR background that's looking, saying, "Ooh, is this somebody that I could learn something from?" Or vice versa. Like I am not an IT person, for example.
Right.
So I may be looking for that skill to help out our organization or something along those lines.
I see. So I shouldn't be ignoring these people then, huh?
Well, you kind of want to look at it. So the thing I think that drives me nuts the most, right, are the ones that are clearly sales opportunities.
Yes.
So if somebody is reaching out to you and it's clear that their business is sales and you connect with them on LinkedIn, expect a note or a call shortly after that. And if you're not in the market for that, then by all means, don't make the connection.
Yeah. And we should talk about that in a second. What is the appropriate way to approach a connection if you are in sales or a potential connection? Because after all, you're trying to make business happen, right? So we'll talk about that. And the whole endorsement thing is interesting too, because if you're interested in having an endorsement, how do you inspire people to endorse you? We'll talk about that too as we discuss LinkedIn on WBCK. WBCK, Kevin Brozovich is here from HRM Innovations. We're giving you advice you can use about LinkedIn and making those connections. So somebody might connect with you who's in sales. They would like a lead. And you're saying if you do connect with them, they're going to reach out to you. Be prepared.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're open to that, great. And if you're on the sales end of things, try it. Right? You have nothing to lose. Salespeople make cold calls all the time.
That's what that is.
And sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not.
So there are things, interesting things on LinkedIn, which basically involve getting people to recommend you or stand by you as a professional. How does that work?
Sure. So you can write a recommendation about another person that you're connected to on LinkedIn. And if you're in the job hunt, it's not inappropriate to ask for that, to say, a former boss or a former coworker and say, you know what, would you mind writing a recommendation for me?
And that's a publicly viewed thing.
It is. It is. Want to make somebody's day? Write one unsolicited. You've got somebody that you know that is really talented and you want to make their day, write a recommendation for them.
Now, see, that takes work. You've got to sit down and think of what you want to write and write it and post it. A lot of people, it seems, are doing the endorsement thing where, you look at your list of contacts and say, okay, Kevin knows HR, so I'm going to endorse him as an HR professional. It shows up there.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's so easy to just click the button that what I find is that folks do the endorsement without really knowing what's behind that.
Yeah.
So there's, in my personal experience, right, there's a thing called deferred comp, which is really a benefits aspect, and it's not something that I do. Mm-hmm. I get endorsed for it on a regular basis.
Right.
And I'm like, I've never done it. So, it's great that I have these endorsements for deferred comp. Don't know
that is.
Yeah, don't know it.
In fact, it's interesting because that's happened to me a couple times where somebody will so-and-so endorsed you for email blasts. How do they know I've done that? It's just kind of interesting. I mean, I have a few times, but I'm not an expert. So,
right.
And what made them think I was? I wonder what that is. Those things go through your mind.
You just look like an email blast kind of guy, Richard.
That must be it. He sends email all the time. In fact, I blocked him. That's how I'm kidding. So let's suppose you want to connect with someone on LinkedIn who works at Kellogg or is in a play striker or someplace where you think you might like to work, but you don't really know them. Is this appropriate?
I say give it a try.
Okay.
If you have the interest, try it. You have nothing to lose.
Now, what should you say? I mean, there's sort of canned intros. If you want to connect with somebody, you get this note, oh, I'd like to connect with you. And that's already pre-written. I've read in some places that you need to put some thought into connecting with someone whom you don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you get that, you talked about getting these unsolicited requests from people that you don't know and don't seem to have any connection to. If there's an explanation of why they want to connect, then it's a lot better chance that you're going to be open to that, be receptive.
Sort of like that endorsement thing. You can easily just click it and connect and the canned message comes up.
Right.
But if you've thought about it.
Yeah, take the time to not use the canned message, but to do the actual request invitation.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. I had a connection send me an email recently because they were looking for business, right? Mm-hmm. And I sort of turned it around and said, if radio can help you accomplish that, let me know. So, this is okay, right? I mean,
sure.
It's like going to a networking event or something.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. You're just doing it online.
Are there things people do on LinkedIn they shouldn't that you see?
Yes. So, in this time, and I'll tell you what, in this season especially, political things.
Oh, boy.
Right? This is not the place to put out your political beliefs or kids' events or those types of things.
This isn't Facebook.
It is not Facebook. It is a professional network.
All right. So in a moment, we'll talk about what you should put out there. And that's interesting because I see a lot of people post things regularly, but are they acceptable? We'll talk about that in just a minute with Kevin Brozovich on WBCK. Kevin Brozovich is here in studio with us from HRM Innovations. We're talking about LinkedIn and why you use it and what's appropriate. So why do we use it? Are most of us there because we're looking for a new job? Is that why we're there?
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. But also it's just great to know who else is out there in your industry and make those connections and know who to reach out to if you've got questions or to learn things. There's a lot of great professional articles and blogs that you can follow on LinkedIn. And it's a great opportunity to learn some new things too.
So do people look for new employees or applicants at least by using LinkedIn?
Absolutely. So as recruiters, right, we do this, and so do many others. You can purchase a professional level of LinkedIn.
Yes.
Right? And it allows you to go in and search. And so one of the key things that I'm going to say is if you are looking at a job or considering a career change, get the details about what you're good at out on your profile because recruiters can search on those specific items, those specific skills. So if Richard Piet is an expert in email blasts, by golly, he should have that in his profile.
Please endorse me for that. Yeah.
You're right. So that when I go out and recruit, I can, and I'm looking for that email blaster, Richard Piet's name is going to come up.
So there's a way for you to search your contacts by skill. Is that true?
There is, and as a recruiter, I can search anybody's profile, not just my contacts, anybody's profile by specific skill.
That's one thing about LinkedIn. It's not very discreet. For example, if I go look at Kevin's profile, it's going to tell Kevin, Richard looked at your profile. What if you want to be under the radar? Is there a way to do that? There
is. You can be anonymous. You can choose to do it confidentially.
I see.
The only thing with that is that often it'll say, a radio personality from Battle Creek. Right?
That's
or
not
those
anonymous.
Kinds of yeah. So, so sometimes you have to be careful with that. But in general, it does come across as confidential.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it's good then to know that you are very well preparing yourself for someone in an industry who might be hiring to look at your profile based on that. Should you list all of your employment history like it's a resume?
Yes.
Okay.
All the key things, yes.
By the way,
right.
What is the resume purview these days? One page, references, no references?
Okay, so easy, no references, first of all.
Okay.
The length of the resume has everything to do with your length of employment experience.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, we used to be told 1 page, no more.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to say early on in your career, you should try to get it to 1 page.
Okay.
But later on, you need 2 pages. To give it any kind of depth,
right.
You need to get to that.
After you've amassed the experience, it's hard to whittle it down.
Exactly, and you want to highlight that. Don't do 18 pages.
Okay.
We have gotten that.
There is
don't do 18 pages.
That's the other side of that.
Yes, it
want to
is.
send a ream of paper in with that. Okay. Cover letters. Write them, don't write them.
So you're usually going to be applying online.
Yeah, right. And which is why I asked.
Yeah, so you do a message with it, whether it's in the email or whether it's in the online portal that you're entering in. Mm-hmm. Do a message that says, well, I am interested in your job because, and tailor it to that specific opportunity.
Right.
We get the cut and paste things where we have applied at XYZ company and unfortunately I'm at ABC.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, right. It's the wrong company. Hell, that goes right in the garbage, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So you can go to Google and type in cover letters and you get all these examples. There's lists of buzzwords to use and all of those things, and maybe some of those would apply in your LinkedIn profile too. Should you be using those?
No.
Okay.
I was trying to soften that, but no. And I'll tell you why. You really want it to reflect you personally. And you say, well, you want to look for what the employer's looking for. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you don't represent yourself as yourself, you're not going to be a great match for that employer when you get there. And you want to basically, you want to be happy in your job. So the best way to do that is to present yourself as you are in a good light, right? Without typos and well written and all of that. Yeah. But you want to show your personality and then align that with the job so that when you get there, nobody's surprised and we know it's a good fit.
All right. We've spent a few times, one of them was yesterday, talking with Dr. Brian Long, who observes the economy, and he talks about employment. Mm-hmm. He calls it full employment right now from his numbers perspective. Do you see that?
Yes. Yeah. It's difficult to find great folks right now because they're happily
working.
Employed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He also talks at length about the number of positions that are out there, generally skilled trades and some others. Can't find people for those.
Skilled trades is really, really tough. And I'll tell you, the thing that I use with that is, when's the last time you went to a high school open house where the graduate said, I'm going to a skilled trades position?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It's interesting how the dynamic exists about that. But yet these are really good paying positions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're great skills. They're great careers. Absolutely.
All
great
right.
jobs.
Treat your LinkedIn like a resume.
Yep.
Make the connections if you feel comfortable, Endorsements, maybe not so much. Write a recommendation for somebody.
Do it. Make their day.
Or ask for one. Can you ask for one?
Oh, of course you can.
All
of
right.
course you can. Just like you would ask for a reference.
All right. Good information right there, Kevin. Maybe we'll catch up again soon.
That'd be terrific.
Kevin Brozovich is with HRM Innovations, based in Kalamazoo, doing work all the time there and here in Battle Creek.